Yay!
Hey internets, it's Jake from Indie Terrain Domain, and this is Welcome to Paradise Academy.
Mm.
This is a special presentation called Welcome Week. It's not quite our Season 2 first episode, but it's also not Season 1. This is sort of an in-between. It's kind of like a Doctor Who holiday special. You know, they have those every year and around Christmas. Um, we're going to do, in a few minutes when we get into things, we're going to do a little bit of a little bit of housekeeping, kind of talking about the game itself and some of the mechanics. Because we will be introducing some new rules in the new season. And modifying some existing rules. We're going to go loosely over those. And then I will, of course, in the time between now and the new season in January, the players and I will be meeting to go over everything in more detail. But that's in a few minutes. First up, we've got a couple of announcements. This episode tonight is the last official regular stream for MTD for the rest of 2024, with
Is it
the
really?
exception of
Oh,
the Scribes and Scrolls one-on-one sessions that will be happening on Monday nights throughout the month of December. We have 4 players, so for 4 weeks we will be having those special sessions. We are working on scheduling. Usually we do pre-production, we do pre-recording on those, and then we play them on Monday night at 8 p.m. And then myself and anybody else from the show that wants to hang out and chat will do so. There is a possibility 1 or 2 of those might end up being done live, because that happens every year. But we'll see. This week we did see the end of the regular season of Scribes and Scrolls with episode 90. We also saw our last 2023 episode of Sky Metal Iron Gods. That was on Tuesday. So yeah, I will be
did it end
popping
with a
up.
TPK? I mean, a bang?
It did not. Not only did it not end in a
Good!
TPK, we accidentally completed one of the major mission quests.
Hell yeah! Nothing better than
Literally
accidentally
because we
completing
flipped a
quest.
switch. We touched a button. We split the party, and 2 of us went into a room, and M's character went and pushed a button. And that caused a chain reaction that ended one of the quest lines. So worked out really well, and we ended going back home to Torch because we needed to rest, so that we don't die. Anyway, you'll be able to catch that episode and all the others on youtube.com/terraindomain, where all of our VODs are available. Let's see. So yeah, that pretty much covers all of our episodes for the remainder of the year. You can stay tuned to social media and for announcements. Join us over on Discord. You can type !Discord in the chat and see when we are going to be returning with our various shows, probably starting in the second week of January. As we mentioned before, all of these games, we talk about safety tools. We were actually talking about safety tools before we started. Safety tools are an important part of any role-playing game, and we highly encourage you to use safety tools at your own table. We use basically a combination of lines and veils and a traffic light system. We have established through session zeros what everyone's lines and veils are. And we use a green light, yellow light, red light system in chat or verbally, so that we are in constant communication with one another, because you never know when something can suddenly become a thing that somebody doesn't want to deal with. And one of the reasons we have these safety tools is because in a game like this, we found that we really like to explore the darker sides of being kids and teenagers in 1980s, dealing with supernatural things on top of family issues and trauma and things like that. So please be warned before going in to watch this that There are going to be conversations that will be happening through roleplay that deal with loss, death, and trauma, potential, touching on topics of bullying, and other things. Again, we as players are keeping one another safe, but we want you to be aware if that's not something that you want to be exposed to, please head on over somewhere else, watch another stream. There's lots of things going on, or go to youtube.com/mini-terrain-domain and check out the Legends of Eleonora charity stream from a few months back. That was a PG-13 game and was a riot. With that said, the only other thing I have left to say to you is a reminder that you matter.
Oh.
Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. There are any number of reasons that you might be struggling. Please know that it is okay to not be okay. Your struggling is valid, but you do not have to struggle alone. You can come here to our chat at any time, and you can type !help, as Jeremy has done. And a couple URLs will pop up. Those are findahelpline.com, or you can check out the growing list of resources at takethis.org. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. There is one more thing that I forgot to mention. If you look up above to Miko and where M would be if they were here, you will see a number of domain pops. Domain pops are a form of domain dice for this game. They are a way that you, the audience, can have an impact on the game. The players can use those domain pops to gain +1 per pop bonuses, or they can roll use 5 to roll on the D100 mystery grab bag, which reminds me, we need to get some school-themed things added to the D100 table.
Oh my!
The table in its current form will work, but I would love to have some Paradise Academy specific or school-related things on there. So you may have some homework during this Christmas break. And of course, I mean, don't worry. I'll just go to Gary. Gary takes it easy on you guys with the stuff he comes up with. So, but as we're going to find out in a minute, not only are these a bonus for the players, they are going to be the domain pops themselves are more important in the second season than they have been in the first season. So, allow me to welcome you.
Make us use them.
Allow me to welcome you to Paradise Academy. This is going to be the sort of meta part of the game. We're going to talk just briefly about a couple things to do with mechanics, because I want to get you guys, the players, to start thinking about some of this, and just for transparency, to talk about a little bit of the what are some of the rule changes. We are still using the Kids on Bikes mechanic as the primary mechanic for this game, but I've hybrided in some a couple fun things from a system called School Days RPG, and a couple things of my own decision here. So some of you may have seen the new character sheet that I posted in the Discord in the docs and info section. This is a hybrid of the Kids on Bikes character sheet, but also adding in some of the new things. You will notice, of course, all of your usual stuff. Name, age, now it includes a grade section. What is the trope that you're playing? What is your motivation? Now, this is something that we talked about early on in the campaign. This is malleable. This is something that you may have new motivations given your new existence in this alternate timeline or iteration, if you will. We can talk about if you want to make changes to your strengths, either removing or possibly gaining new strengths. Same with flaws. If you want to take on new flaws, I would encourage you to look at that, as well as new fears. Those are now the strengths do have a mechanical thing, and I do want to talk about that for a minute. This is where the domain pops come into play. In Season 2, no longer will you receive adversity tokens when you fail a roll. In fact, all adversity tokens you have right now, they're gone. Not the domain dice, the domain pops, those stay. But your personal adversity tokens no longer exist. If you have a strength or you want to use domain pops as adversity tokens in the game, you can only do so if the audience has provided them for you. This includes the strengths such as I'm trying to think of one. I think it's tough that lets you earn. No, I can't remember what they're called now. I don't have the book in front of me.
Cool under pressure.
Cool under pressure.
That, gives you bonus against adults.
Nope. That one won't change. I'm thinking of one of the ones that any of the ones that
you're thinking of mine. Easy going, where I gain 2 tokens instead of 1 on a fail.
Yes. That's one I talked to you the other day about it, and I totally forgot what I came up with as the solution for that. So I will have the ones like that don't involve the spending of adversity tokens, what the new rule is. But fear not, there is still a something that happens when you fail a roll. Most rolls, nothing will happen if you fail. You just don't succeed. However, when a roll is important, as deemed by the role play, myself, or if one of the players or somebody, or if all of you agree, wow, this is really intense. If you fail that roll, you will receive a consequence. There are 3 types of consequences: physical, mental, and social.
Oh, God.
The way these work is if you receive a consequence, I will tell you whether it was physical, mental, or social. I will tell you how long that consequence lasts. In most cases, a consequence will only last for, at least in the terms of social in particular, but in most cases, they'll only last for the day. By the time the next day happens, people will have forgotten about it, moved on to make fun of somebody else or whatever. But what these consequences mean is for each consequence you have, that is a -2 to that type of roll. So that's something to keep in mind. If you've racked up a couple failures, you could be 2, 4, 6 in the hole the next time you go to make a check. You will also notice there is something called ranks. This is directly from the school days. It's a little silly and a little fun. I will be providing when we meet for our next session, or possibly even beforehand, I will provide you with the full list of ranks. Where did they go? Okay, so the way ranks work is, first off, Oak and Coop, you will each be allowed 1 rank. Rosie, Billy, and Laz will be allowed 2 ranks, and Jessica, as the upperclassman, will be allowed 3 ranks. The way the ranks work is they have a good result and a bad result. They're not always applicable, but they might be applicable in certain situations, which we together will determine, hey, I've got ranks in. So one of these is, let's see here. Rank in bank. The flavor text is, oh, this, I bought it with Daddy's credit card. The good result is you can afford anything you desire. So say you're trying to negotiate to buy something, you might be able to say, hey, I've got ranks in bank. So you get a +1 to your roll. The bad result of that is you're spoiled and demand instant gratification. So there may be a situation where we'll say, you know what, because of your rank in bank, you're going to have a negative to this roll. I'm going to pull out just a couple here as examples that I think might apply to a couple of you. Rank in pranks. Did you see the look on Principal
Jesus.
Gunnarson's face when the flower hit her? Priceless. You always come up with the distraction. However, you can't resist an opportunity to humiliate someone. Ranks in thanks. Oh, sure, I can stay after class and help you grade papers, Mrs. Davenport. You're one of the nicest people anyone has ever met. However, you're a kiss ass. So these are some examples. You will be allowed to choose your rank. So I will have that criteria for you, and these will have direct role-playing results within the game. The other piece, the last mechanic that, and for those of you that may have started filling out the character sheet, you might want to hold off because I'm going to have to do a version 2 because I got to make a couple modifications, one of which is I forgot to explain the rules on this. You'll notice that there is a gold star on your character sheet. We are going to be adding gold stars into this game. They function much the way that inspiration points work in D&D, in that you will be awarded them for epic solutions to problems. My rule with inspiration will apply to gold stars is if the majority of the table says, hey, that was really awesome, you should get a gold star, you'll get a gold star. Because I'm not always great at recognizing those because, you know, GM managing a bunch of stuff. So I will allow you to award those amongst yourselves. They also, the way those can be redeemed is, remember those consequences that you can earn? You can use gold stars to remove consequences. So if you don't want to have that, say, -4 or -6 on something, you can use a gold star or two to eliminate these consequences. Let's see here. This closed on me for some reason. 1 second. Okay. Sorry, my document closed on me.
While Jake is taking a second, check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, we have all kinds of cool t-shirts like the original Welcome to Paradise, Michigan design. We're going to have some new ones coming out soon. We have, oh my gosh, the OG Dawnbringers t-shirts. We have all kinds of cool class t-shirts for your fantasy games. We can get them on t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, coffee mugs, and so much more. Teespring.com. Just search Mini Terrain Domain.
Actually, that is the OG Dawnbringer shirt that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh my God, it's not available.
That was
Never
a very
mind.
limited run when they first came out. In fact, I think the second design is no longer available either.
That's okay.
It's like,
unless you go
Jeremy,
to
check the back of your tag. If it says
Exclusive.
001, hold on to it forever.
all right, back to gold stars real quick.
Sorry.
As I said, you can use them to remove a consequence. You will be using this. We'll do this narratively. So kind of incorporated into the role play. You can also use them to gain a +2 on any roll in lieu of domain pops. And finally, you can use a gold star as sort of a Hail Mary. You want to add to the story in a meaningful way, maybe by granting yourself a sudden surge of adrenaline or a piece of equipment that you might have not had in your backpack already. Kind of the sky's the limit with final adjudication by the GM. But gold stars are meant to be infrequently awarded so that they are a valuable commodity. Any questions about any of that before we move on? All right, that is essentially the overview then on that stuff. Moving on to So the domain pops work the same way they always have. They are still a +1. You just no longer have adversity tokens, so the only way you can gain those pluses is through the domain pops. I did assign all of you your class schedules. We've already commented that at least in some cases you've recognized names that are people that you have met in the story previously. However, there are names of teachers that you've never heard of before. When we get into the game proper, in some cases, whoever has the first scene with that teacher, I may throw it to you to tell us who that teacher is. Tell us a little bit about them. You know, what kind of a teacher are they? Are they a nice teacher, a mean teacher? Do they have any weird habits? Habits? Do they have any weird habits?
Do they have any weird hobbits?
Do they have any weird habits or hobbits or hobbies or anything? Or, you know, maybe they've got some theme that they always decorate their classroom in. You know, whatever. I want you guys to have some world building for this kind of stuff, so that will, of course, all be canon. But all of that is something we will do when we get into Season 2 and start role-playing in the actual game. Because right now, it is a few weeks before the start of school. The school sent out letters to you and your family telling you how to choose your classes, picking out extracurricular activities, etc., which you've all done. And you have been asked, or in not really asked, you have been assigned an appointment to meet with the school guidance counselor. I would say that for those of you who have been here at school that are in the upper grades, you definitely know this is not something that every student goes through. There are way too many students for every student to have a one-on-one. You have all been singled out with a handful of other students to have meetings with the school guidance counselor. Coop, it's not happening today, but part of your welcome week as a new 6th grader, brand new to Paradise Academy, you have been assigned an upperclassman and a group of other 6th graders that you're being given a tour of the school. At a later time, I will publish in the public Discord for this game the map of Paradise Academy. And I will make that available to the players after the game, or at least to preview after the game if they want to stick around for a few minutes to show you what your school looks like. For those of you that haven't seen it yet. So, in preparing for your meetings with the guidance counselor, I would like you each to roll me a D100, please.
Oh my god, I forgot we need dice for this game.
And this is going to go similar to the episode where you were all interviewed by the Nexus Project, in that you will answer the first question that is given to you, and then we will move on to the next person and next person, then we'll come back to the second question, etc. Coop and Laz, please re-roll. We're going to have a roll-off.
Roll off.
All right, Coop.
Oh my god. Jeremy.
So.
Wait. Jeremy and Ted have the same number now.
No. This is just for the purposes of the roll-off to determine which of the two of you, because the lowest number is going first. Which means, again, Coop rolled the lowest of those two numbers, so...
Wow.
Do it the other way around.
Coop,
No. It's your turn.
you are
Okay.
going to be the first person brought into the guidance counselor's office. I need to open up. So the guidance counselor's office. Where did it go? Is, I believe it's on the main floor. I forgot I haven't finalized the images on that. And it is in the west wing towards the back of the school.
Coop's just gonna spin in circles, like in the little entryway, until somebody like tells him where to go. So it's
Oh,
fine.
God.
That's just, he doesn't know where the hell he is.
So
So
as you
it's all-
walk
it's all good.
into the main school, you're just standing at the front entrance.
Yeah, just kind of, what is it? Just kind of standing there, walking around, looking at stuff, and looking for a person who looks like they know where they're going, and doesn't matter who. And then he'll just grab them and be like, "I have to see the guidance counselor."
Coop, just since that's what you've decided you want to do, roll me a D100.
Bang up job doing this so
If
far.
you're within 10, something happens.
43.
If you're within 20, something else happens. And if you're within 30, something else happens. You got a 43.
43.
So that falls into, okay. As you are sort of walk up and you're standing in the main corridor, you see a couple sets of double doors that are directly opposite the main entrance. And there's a brass plate above the center set of these doors that says Paradise Academy Auditorium, and then in quotes, the Macbeth, which is the name of the auditorium, the theater.
That's awesome.
It's a perfect name for a theater because everybody knows that you should say the name of Macbeth inside a theater
Yes.
at all times.
Yes.
Jeremy, I'm not gonna lie, that was put in there expressly for you because you're the one I know that
You're
has
welcome.
a theater background. I knew you would get that.
The fact that you
the
did
Scottish
it, I'm like,
tragedy.
I'm so
Only and
happy.
always.
I'm so happy.
So you see that the floor is a black and white checkerboard tiles. Besides the obvious, when you walked into the school, you had to pass through one of the 3 sets of double doors that are painted green with brass handles. Looking down the hallway, every single classroom you see is a green door with a brass handle. All of the lockers are painted in a green. The walls are in a mint green. You can't help but notice that there are brass accents. The light fixtures, the light switches, things like that are all done in brass. Immediately to the west of the main entrance as you walk in, a door opens and you see a woman walk out of the office, and I'm trying to find it. There we go. You see a woman walk out into the office. Out into the hallway. She's wearing a long black skirt, a gray blazer with slightly too large shoulder pads. Has a pair of black framed glasses, which as she walks out, and she's carrying a bundle of folders to her chest. She kind of pushes her glasses up. and her thick auburn hair is pulled back into a long single braid. And she kind of looks around and sees you there, and she says, "Oh, hello, young man. Can I help you find somewhere?"
Yeah, you look like a teacher. You could probably help. I have to meet the guidance counselor.
Oh, yes.
Wow,
Follow me.
this place is big.
It can certainly seem that way. What was your name?
Oh, Kenny Cooper, ma'am. And he holds out a hand for her to shake it, even though she doesn't have a hand. He holds out his heart.
She kind of shuffles the folders a little bit and holds out her hand and says, "Kenny Cooper, it is a pleasure to meet you. I am Miss Adams. I am the school secretary." And the audience would recognize Miss Adams as the one who was assisting Ashley Raven at the Nexus project. To her credit, she does not flinch at all at reaching out to shake your prosthetic hook. And she just says, "Follow me." And she leads you down to the end of the hall, past about 3 classrooms, turning right down the hall, and brings you to you pass by the girls' bathrooms, a couple classrooms on the left, and then there is a small office. Just past this office, you see that there's sort of an open space that has some tables and chairs, a couple benches along the wall that seems to be some sort of like a student lounge in the open for like between classes or at lunch. And she leads you to this door, and she gives a light knock on the door. And from inside, you hear a man's voice say, "Yes, come in." She opens the door for you and holds it open for you and says, "A Kenny Cooper to see you." Yes. You see a man who looks to be probably in his mid-30s, slightly darker complected skin, dark black hair. He wears a sport coat, but a white shirt with the top button undone. And he motions to the seat across from the desk and says, "Yes, Kenny Cooper. Please do come in and have a seat. My name is Dr. Addis Malachi."
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Adams. That will be all. And you hear the door close behind you, and you hear Miss Adams' heels echoing down the hall as she walks away. Coop, what does this office look like? How is Dr. Addis Malachi's office decorated?
Well, given that he's a guidance counselor, this office is a little bigger than a closet, I would say. So it is not a very large room at all. Coop is actually kind of idly wondering how they got his desk in here. It's like there's barely enough room for him to pass by the wall and the desk to get around to the other side of it. But there's a couple of chairs on the opposite side of the desk, and I want to think that this guy's got his fucking diplomas up in the 2 chunky frames, like on the walls behind him and whatnot. And he's probably got like one of those desk blotters in leather because he thinks he's more important than he is, that has notes scribbled all over it. And a pen cup that's full of pens that don't really write.
That's awesome. What does the cup say on it? Is it a pen cup or is it an old coffee mug? I must know.
Oh, I think it's got to be an old coffee mug with the handle broken off, and it is a what is it? It's from his college alma mater. Name a really shitty college.
Grand Valley State University. Sorry. Go Bulldogs.
A little too fast on the draw there.
So it's like,
I fucking-
bam.
listen, I
That
fucking
was like
said
some
what I said.
resentment level. That was some. I felt the disdain.
A little bit of bitter residue in the bottom of that coffee cup.
I said what I
Let's-
said.
Let's decant that a little bit. Let's.
Well, as you are kind of glancing around the room and taking all of this in, Dr. Malachi takes a seat. As he sits down, you hear both the creak of the chair, but also you hear a sort of a, and his chair drops about a half inch suddenly,
Oh shit.
and you see him just go and just give you a smile as if nothing happened. Well, Kenny, if I'm not mistaken, you're, I believe you sometimes go by the nickname Coop.
Oh, sure. My friends call me Coop. I don't know if my teachers are going to. That'd be a little weird.
Do you not want to be called Coop?
Well, I don't know. People are just gonna call me what they call me. Some of my
You
teachers
see him
called me
writing
Coop
something
in
down.
in my old school, but some of them called me Kenny, and some of them called me Kenneth, and those people sucked.
Interesting.
'Cause that's not even my name.
Your name is Kenny.
Yeah.
Well, very well, Kenny. I have asked to have you meet with me today so that we can have... I'd just like to get to know you a little bit better. And I'm going to be asking you some questions. And I would like you to answer as honestly as you can. You think you can do that?
I can sure try.
Now, I know that you are a new 6th grader with us here at Paradise Academy.
Yep, little fish in a big pond.
Certainly. It can certainly feel that way. But hopefully before too long you will find yourselves growing accustomed to the pond that is Paradise Academy. And, you won't feel so out of sorts. Now, I understand that you spent your summer hanging out with a close-knit group of friends.
Well, part of the summer. For the last part of the summer, I was traveling with my family.
Wonderful. Did you go anywhere fun?
Sure. We went to
Boblo Island, Cedar Point, the UP, Lake Superior.
yes, those places. I remember Pablo Point and Jacob's Creek.
Bobble Point.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
Boblo Point, the Upper Superior.
Well,
of course.
it sounds like you had a fun summer indeed. But what I'd like to talk to you about today, Kenny, is I'd like you to think about the friends that you spent the summer with. And in particular, of your group of friends, I would like you to think about the one who... Now, I know this can be difficult when you have so many friends, but sometimes we have a person that we are closer to, somebody that we feel more favorably toward. Some might call it their favorite. But of your group of friends, who is it that you feel the closest to?
Well, I like them all. Well, we're all such good friends. But I guess I feel closest to Oak because we're closest in age, and what is it? And we like to make plans and stuff together.
So you would say that because of your closeness in age, that you and Oak are the closest.
Well, yeah, it just kind of shakes out that way because I mean, it's a natural split in the friend group because we're the littles and they're the bigs.
That makes sense.
Of course.
Now I'm going to ask you a little more difficult question about your friend Oak. I want you to use your imagination, and remember this is a safe place.
Coop
What-
looks furtively around the office. Safe. Okay.
What would it mean to you if you were to lose your friend Oak?
You know, wow. I think losing Oak would really suck because then I'd be the only little, and we'd be losing like our one of our best minds. He's one of the smartest guys, and he's like the he's like the heart of our little group. Like he holds us all together, and he's yeah. I'd be heartbroken. Oh, see what I just did there? If we lost Oak. So I really hope nothing happens to him. Jake, burp. Do we know about what happened to Oak's parents? Is that part of our new memories or no?
In a small town like Paradise, I feel like that would be fucking news.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
that well, let me turn part of this question. So yes, Carrie raises a very good point. In a small town like Paradise, pretty much everybody knows something about it. The question is for Oak or Chad. To what extent would you have talked to your friends, do you think, about what happened to you?
I mean, I feel like they would know at least base level of everything that went down. I don't know if they would know like the emotional stuff that's going through his head, but he would at least like go to them for comfort and like support because he has no one now. So yeah,
I
these
think
are his
I
family.
think that makes sense, and that's definitely leaves that open for something to explore in the future. So yeah, I think you would know the tragedy that Oak has endured. I mean, it makes sense too because you know that he's now living in the back of the Shipwreck Cafe with Heinz.
Oh yeah, duh. Okay, so Coop is just gonna say,
I mean, we came really close to losing Oak after that car accident. So we're lucky we still have him. So thinking about losing Oak isn't something that I want to do.
I know it's something that you don't want to do. And you've done a wonderful job explaining to me what Oak means to you. But you've sort of skirted around answering the question.
Like, do you know something? Is something gonna happen to him?
What do you know?
Please understand, these are psychological exercises. I'm trying to gain a better understanding of you and your interpersonal dynamics with your chosen friend group.
Oh.
Now think for a moment and try to answer honestly. What would losing Oak mean to you? Let me put it a little more succinctly. What if it was Oak who had died in the car accident? How would that make you feel?
Well, I'd feel really sad if I lost Oak. That means that Rosie would bump up to my number one best friend, I think.
Thanks, bud. Happy to be your silver medal.
Interesting. Well, thank you for answering honestly. As Dr. Malachi reaches forward, there is on his desk, there is a tan and brown box that is, you immediately now know, an electric pencil sharpener. as he sticks the point in until the light turns on. As he blows on the tip, we see Laz now sitting in the seat in front of the desk before Dr. Addis Malachi. Laz, what is a single decoration that you have, something that's somewhere in this room that you noticed as soon as you walked in the room, and your eyes just seem to keep going to it? What is this particular decoration in this office?
It is a poster that says, how does the phrase go? A postponement on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part.
That's amazing.
Excellent.
It's got like some kind of like motivational, like, poster artwork with it, some kind of stock imagery.
As with his newly sharpened pencil, Dr. Malachi writes on his yellow legal pad, Lazarus Eccles. Your mother is Jeannie Eccles.
Yeah.
She's the drummer for Lazarus. Are they going on tour again this fall?
No, they're taking the year off. But I think there's supposed to be something that they're doing like around summertime, some kind of like special show thing. I don't know.
I don't mean to be impertinent, but I'm a huge fan of Lazarus. I've been following them for since before they exploded in popularity. Back when they were doing CCR covers, I actually saw one of their shows.
He yawns. This is like the 400th time that he's heard somebody say something like this.
But I digress. We're here to talk about you, Lazarus. I've asked you to come in here today because you have been chosen, selected to, I'd like to take a just a little bit of a closer look at you before you begin your, he consults his notes. You are going into the 10th grade. You're a 5th year student with us.
Yep. He puts his chucks up on the edge of his desk with like his ankles crossed, leans back in this chair, like slumped down, chewing his gum.
I understand you've had, you stayed here for the most part in Paradise for the summer, hanging out with a group of friends. It's this group of friends that I want to talk to you about. Specifically, I would like you to think about somebody within your friend group, Lazarus, who that you might feel a little bit closer to than the others. Maybe somebody you view as a best friend, while you are friends with all of them, or maybe you're a bit closer at your age with one of the boys or girls. Who would you say of your group of friends you are the closest to?
Does this like have to do with like my classes and shit?
Language, Mr. Eccles.
Does this have to do with my schoolwork and stuff, counselor?
Doctor will suffice. As he sort of points over his shoulder with an eraser at one of the degrees on the wall. I want to understand you as you go into your 5th year with us, and we're looking at how some of these interpersonal dynamics might play a role in your future development here. Now, if you could just answer the question. The sooner you answer my questions, the sooner you can be out of here.
All right, fine. Yeah, what do you want to know? Somebody I feel close to?
Who is it that you are the closest to amongst your friends?
I guess it would have to be Rosie.
Ah, Rosie Gunnarsson, yes. So let me ask you a question about Rosie, keeping in mind that you've said that you are closest to her. It matters not if you view her as a best friend or if perhaps the two of you have a little bit closer relationship.
He becomes visibly uncomfortable.
What I want to ask you, Lazarus, what role did Rosie play in the best day of your life?
She like came to my defense whenever the sheriff and that goon from the lab were trying to pin some kind of helicopter shit on me. We had a really good day at the beach, and it was. It seems like she actually cares about what happens to me, So she's pretty cool, I guess.
You had a good day at the beach. And she defended you during a particular confrontation?
Yeah, like I said, whenever the sheriff and whatever that Hulk and shadow creature thing was trying to like blame me for some shit, some helicopter crash, I don't know.
Yes, I do have a note here about a government crash at Paradise Beach. I'm afraid I was out of the country when this happened. I only read about it in the papers, but it seems like that added a bit to your excitement. Could you elaborate?
Use the word excitement, but yeah, I guess so.
Could you elaborate a little bit about how was it that Rosie made this be one of the best days of your life?
I'm always getting blamed for shit that I don't do. People are always looking at me whenever something goes wrong. I'm always the first name that comes up. Whenever somebody is looking for some place to point the finger. It just gets really fucking old, excuse me. It just gets really old when it happens all the time. And having somebody else that stood up for me instead of me having to stand up for myself is a nice change of pace.
He's scribbling furiously on his pad, and he just kind of, without looking up, he says, I'm not blaming you for anything in particular, Mr. Eccles, but perhaps if you want to avoid blame, you might consider scrubbing the spray paint from under your fingernails that just happens to match the color of the Paradise Bucks mascot sign out front.
I'm an artist.
Indeed. Well, he reaches back behind him, and actually I have to scroll back here a moment.
Amazing.
Let's see. What's this? Rosie. As he reaches back behind him, he grabs a battered dark brown leather diary, like diary in the sense of like a day planner, and places it on the desk. However, the hand that is on top of this is a woman's hand with neatly manicured nails, and the woman looks in the planner and says, "Ah, yes, here we are, Rosie Gunnarson." And we see that Rosie is sitting opposite. Well, I'm glad you could join me today. I am Dr. Shava Malachi. She is
Okay.
a woman in her 30s, looks to be somewhere around 32, 35. She has a darker complected skin, almost an olive colored skin, very thick, dark black hair that is pulled back. She has a sort of a gold looking hairband that kind of pulls it back, but then allows it to fall, the remainder of the hair to fall across her shoulders.
I do have a quick question.
Yes.
So, as a as a kid, an actual real teacher's kid, I knew all of the teachers by the time I was about 7. If my mother's the principal here, do I already know this woman kind of, or is she new? Would she be introducing herself?
All you know is something that you would have heard in passing about your mother talking about the new guidance counselors, a Jewish couple that are both doctors named Dr. Addis Malachi and Dr. Shava Malachi.
Okay. Cool.
I would like you, Rosie, to tell me, what does this office look like? Keeping in mind that though you are in the exact same office that Coop and Laz were in, you are meeting with Dr. Shava Malachi. You have not seen this office before.
Okay.
This office, to the audience's eyes, looks nothing like Dr. Addis Malachi's office. How is this office appointed?
So, this Dr. Malachi, her office is almost obsessively tidy and neat and clean. There are exactly, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 7 file cabinets, each neatly labeled with the grades of the students here at Paradise Academy. The decor in here is all either grays or whites or blacks. And it feels, for Rosie, who is kind of a pigpen type, is a little bit uncomfortably clean. It's well lit. There's a window. And it is, she does not have a pencil cup. She has a drawer, which you can only assume is immaculately neat. And I'm going to say that she has a poster on the wall that says, "Your procrastination does not constitute my emergency." And that is the one similarity.
As she closes her her diary confirming the appointment, she reaches to the side, opens up one of the drawers, carefully places it in, and closes the drawer. As she does so, the 4 neatly sharpened Murado Black Warrior pencils that are perfectly aligned, one of them just slightly rolls to the side. And she reaches forward with one of her long manicured nails and ever so slightly nudges it back into position as she folds her hands in front of her at the desk and says, "Rosie Gunnarson, it is nice to finally meet you. Your mother speaks very highly of you, you should know. But I will digress from that. I know you probably hear all too often about your mother, the principal, and I can assure you we are not here to talk about her. I understand that you have spent some time around Paradise this summer with a close-knit group of friends. It's your relationship with your friends that I would like to talk to, and please understand I'm not approaching this in any critical sort of way. I have been asked to evaluate you and your interpersonal dynamics with your friend group as we look at your future growth here at the school. So I would like to ask you a couple questions about you and your friends.
I can answer whatever you want to answer. But I thought I was in here to like talk about my schedule and extracurriculars and stuff. Why do you really need to know about my friends?
I am a guidance counselor, one who happens to have not one, but 2 doctorates. And I assure you I do not want to use my expertise to talk about your placement in your classes as you think towards your future. That is what a career counselor is for. And your homeroom teachers assisting along with that. And I do believe that Miss Adams has already finalized most of your schedules already. You should have received it in the mail, if not already.
Rosie has it in her back pocket, and she's like holds it up like it's on like a little card, and she's like, "Yep, I got it."
And as I understand it, there's no need to talk about what you want to do with your extracurriculars, as I have no doubt that you are planning to play basketball this fall and baseball in the spring.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Wonderful. Again, I'm not here to talk to you about your extracurriculars or your class schedule. I'd like to talk to you about your friends, and I'd like you to hone in for me for just a moment in this group of friends that you have. It is not uncommon that we feel more favorably towards one person in our group of friends, whether they be somebody that we view as close, almost like a brother or a sister, or, as is understandable, a young woman of your age, you may have grown closer to one of the other boys or girls in your friend group, where you've developed a bit stronger feelings. Who of your friend group would you say fits this criteria, that you feel as the one you feel most positively toward?
As soon as she mentions maybe a little, like, Rosie's cheeks are just getting redder and redder and redder, and she's like physically shrinking in this chair, it appears. And then she would just kind of like, she sort of like sits back. She's like, well, I mean, I don't know. Well, Laz, I guess. I don't know.
She scribbles on a legal pad
Rosie leans out and like sees if anybody's in like the main office, like just outside the door.
Where this room, so the door is closed.
Okay.
And she writes in a very concise and neat handwriting on this yellow legal pad that is lying on her desk. And she glances back at you and says, Laz, that would be Lazarus Eccles, yes?
Yeah, that one.
And
No, Dr. Mac, the other Laz.
I can assure you, Miss Gunnison, that this is a safe space. Nobody is listening.
That's okay.
It is just you and I here. Now, in thinking of the closeness you feel towards Laz, I want you to think about Laz and what is something that Laz, a characteristic that he has, a trait, a habit, whatever it may be, what is it that Laz despises about himself that you genuinely appreciate?
Wow. That's a pretty deep question, Dr. Mack. It's day one.
I don't waste time wallowing in the shallows. If we're going to swim, we're going to get wet, and we're going to jump into the deep end.
Okay. Well, okay. I guess Laz doesn't like people to be close to him. He doesn't want, it's almost like sometimes he doesn't want friends. He wants people to stay away. But I guess he thinks that caring about people is weak, or that it leaves him open or something. I don't know. But he does care about people a lot. And I think that's why I like him. I guess. I don't know. Who knows about these things? I'm not a 2-degree doctor, you know. And Rosie uncomfortably pulls a Coke out of her bag and goes right on the corner of the desk, and it's just
As you go to set this can of Coke on the desk, as if she had anticipated this move, while you are pulling the can of Coke out of your bag, she, while making notes, reaches into the drawer on her left, reaches in, pulls something out, and as you're setting the can of Coke down, she slides a cork coaster directly underneath it.
Holy shit. Oh. Awesome. Thank you.
Of all the props I would have thought that you would have on hand, Carrie, a can of soda and a coaster was not something I anticipated.
Come on. Fucking, do you know me? Like, let's go. How long have you been doing this?
I mean, this is somebody who actually went out to the shed to get, what was it, a saw or a hammer or something?
Shovel.
A shovel. That was a
shovel.
Yes.
During the break, actually ran out to your shed and got a shovel.
It was very important.
As she slides the coaster and you set this can of Coke down, we hear another psh as Dr. Addis Malachi cracks open a can of Coke and then motions to the unopened can of Coke sitting on the edge of the desk and says, "Please, do help yourself, Orson."
That's awesome. What a great transition.
So I'm in one of the rooms right now, and then she's offering me a can of Coke. Okay.
No, you are in
no.
the room. It
The room?
is Dr. Addis Malachi.
Dr. Addis. Okay. So
It is the first room, the slightly disheveled, gaudy,
yes,
cramped
the
looking room.
the smaller cramped room. Yeah, okay. I think that Oak has his Walkman on, and I think in the background it's playing Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And he's kind of zoning out, and I think that we see this camera shot of it fades out for a second from the room, and it's just Oak in that space and time, that open space, that ethereal space where he was trapped in that sarcophagus. And there's this moment of him having like a hyperventilating moment, and he's smashing his fists against the glass. And the more and more he smashes, the angrier and angrier and angrier he gets, and you can start to see the glass splinter. But as it splinters, that green now turns to a red. It slowly starts to fade to a red, and all of it becomes a red sarcophagus with the brass outlines, and he's just screaming. But the moment that he says, would you like something to drink, and he hands the can, when he sets the can down, that's when he can hear it, and he takes them off, and he's like, Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. I was being rude there. I didn't. Thank you, sir.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here to talk, and I'm going to ask you some questions today, but I have an extra question I want to ask you before we get started.
Okay.
Where you were just now. Don't worry, I'm not going to pry right now. Do you go there often?
He sits for a second. For the last 2 years, yeah, for the last 2 years I have. It's been rough. Not gonna lie.
Well, allow me, as much as I am able, to assure you that while you are here, this is a safe space, and you do not have to seek refuge elsewhere.
Thank you.
And for now, for today, I am not here to talk to you about what happened to you and your family. But I do want you to know, Orson, should you need somebody to talk to, I am here. What I'd actually like to talk to you about is you and your friends, the ones who you spend the summer with here in Paradise.
Hey.
As he says this, there is something distracting in this office.
Okay.
Visually, audibly, whatever.
I know exactly what it is.
What is it?
I know exactly what it is. You know, because it's something I've seen in almost every counselor office or whatever. It's
those freaking balls.
Those little pendulum balls, right? The ones that like are metronome and they like keep time. It's like he took the headphones off to listen, and now that's all he can hear is the click of the repeating of the balls just going backwards and forwards. And it seems like his eyes now are engaging with the pendulum as opposed to like the guidance counselor himself. He's just distracting himself with other stimuli.
Let me ask you specifically about your group of friends. I want you to think about, in your friend group, who it is that you are the closest to.
Okay.
Who do you look at as a best friend, or the one you confide in most readily?
Okay, well gosh, I mean that is a difficult question, you know, like, because I love all of them. I do. It's difficult. It's like, I don't know. Last summer I would have said Laz, but I don't know. Recently I feel like maybe Rosie?
Now, in thinking of why you've placed Rosie at the forefront of your group of friends, I'm gonna turn up the difficulty a bit on this question. So bear with me for a moment.
Okay.
Orson, when was it that you first realized that you loved Rosie? Either platonically or romantically.
Oh. Well, listen. Like I said, that's difficult, sir. I don't know. I'm in a weird space right now. Okay. I do have feelings for her. I've had feelings for her for a bit, but I can't say anything about it because it's like, dude, Laz is my best friend. He's my best friend, man. And like, there's a guy code there. You can't just, I can't just do that to him. And besides, like, not to derail what you're asking me, sir, but listen. 2 years ago, I went through the worst thing in my life. Okay, I lost everybody. And honest to God, I'll tell you, we were going on a camping trip. My dad was so excited because I had been 5 years after the surgery. 5 years after the surgery, I was so excited. I didn't have my braces, man. I saw it in my hand. I didn't have my braces on, and I saw my legs. I was gonna be great. This school year was gonna be great, man. I was gonna be so excited when that happened. And then what happened? My dad slips on the ice. We're driving there. The car rolls. I have to watch my sisters, my mom, and my dad. You know, the only reason that I survived is because of that fucking console that's up. Sorry. So I didn't mean to curse, but if it weren't for that middle console in there, I wouldn't have done that. And so what happens? My legs get pinned in there and I have to go back in. So now we're all back down to square one. I worked 5 years to get there, man. We're back down to square one. So yeah, I do like Rosie. I like her a lot. And maybe it's my hormones. Maybe it's weird. I don't know, dude. I don't know if I like... I'm at the point right now where I don't know if I like girls. I don't know if I like guys. I don't know what's going on with my body right now. Things may change. But I do know two things. That I love Laz and I love Rosie. I love both of them. And so, yeah, this is fucking difficult, man. It's fucking difficult. Cause like, I didn't like myself. Can you imagine being a 10-year-old and not liking who you are? Because I sure as hell didn't. And here I am now looking at myself going, I gotta start over. Sir, I'm sorry, but how, please forgive me, how fucking fair is that? Because it's not. And besides, like, I'm not saying that she'd be like that or nothing, but like, she's a real athletic girlfriend. Like, if I asked her to be my girlfriend, like, she's real athletic and stuff. She likes sports. Like, what am I supposed to offer to that? Like, come on, man. Like, look at me. She's out of my league. Plus, she's in 9th grade. What am I supposed to say to that? So, yeah, maybe I just sit beside on the sidelines and I watch the two of them blossom and be awesome. Because I'm happy for that. I'm happy for that. But if you're asking me if like, oh, did you have a good summer? Is things great? No, they're not. Because when I went to sleep last night, things were great. I had an awesome summer. And then when I woke up this morning, things were absolute shit, man. So go ahead. He takes the can of soda and just starts drinking it. His hand's like shaking at this point. Go ahead. Ask your questions. Ask how I feel. Because I'll tell you, you just might not like it.
Dr. Malachi listens without interruption this entire diatribe, this vent. And when he realizes that you're done, you'll notice that he was not furiously writing on his notepad. In fact, he hasn't written anything down. He sets his pencil down on his notepad. He gets up from behind his desk, awkwardly walks around in the tight space behind it next to the file cabinets, comes around, walks behind you, and opens the door. And then he takes a couple steps out into the hallway, and then he says, "Come with me. I want to show you something."
He wipes a couple tears from his eyes and grabs his backpack, starts walking behind him.
He leads you down the hall just a few feet to the girls' restroom. He pushes the door open just a couple inches and says, "Hello? Is anyone in there?" Excellent. Pushes the door open and says, Come with me. It's okay. We're just going to step inside. I want to show you something." He actually pushes the door open, reaches down on the floor behind it, and pulls one of those little rubber door stops and sticks it in so that the door is held open. Just come right over here by me.
He's so awkward right now. And especially now, because they're walking into a girl's restroom.
Right.
He's like, what the hell is
Oh,
happening
man.
right now?
They have paper towels? Holy shit! And
Towels.
soap?
There's nothing but stalls in here?
Oh my god!
Where's the urinals?
Why does it smell good?
There's not a lingering pee smell in here.
Everything is clean. I don't understand.
He holds his hand out and just kind of motions for you. Just come stand right over here by me. Do you go stand next to him?
Stand next to him.
As you stand next to him, he puts his hand on your shoulder just enough to turn so that you're facing the same way he is. And he has pointed you towards a full-length mirror where you see yourself standing next to him. Looking at you in the mirror, he says, "Orson, what do you see?"
You want an honest answer? Or you want me to give you, like,
I want you to
the
tell me
school-appropriate one?
what you see.
I see a broken kid. Not just physically, like, mentally, too.
You know what I see?
You see for the first time, Jake, I think you see like the level of like Lazarus I don't give a fuck in Oak's like visual. He's like, whatever you say right now, like it's not gonna affect me. But yeah, feel free.
I see a second-year student who is already enrolled, not just enrolled, but is the only advanced placement student in Mr. Bender's computers lab. I see the only second year enrolled in Ms. Drolin's AP English Lit and Composition class.
Blame my mom for that.
But I also see that little sixth grader that came in here as a first year. I've seen the pictures in your file. Not just the pictures that were taken of you as a first year, but the pictures you took. As I understand it, Mr. McDowell requested that you take photography this year. And Mr. Webster is looking forward to having you in journalism this year. I understand it, you are not just an incredible photographer. You're pretty handy with one of those video cassette recorder cameras. And you are
yes,
quite the
sir.
writer.
Yeah. I'd like to think so.
You know what?
Yeah.
None of those things have as a defining characteristic. Whether
I'm smart enough to know, but I'd really like it better if you told me.
not one of those things. And if you will pardon me for a moment, and you do see him kind of look out into the hallway, and he does lower his voice. Not one of those things gives a fuck about the state of your legs.
Oh, yes. That's awesome.
Now, I would like to go back into my office and continue talking with you, if you are comfortable with that.
For a brief moment, he turns to you, and he thought for a minute, this dude's such a douchebag. Why would I even say something? But then he just hugs him. He just wraps his arms around him. He hugs you.
Yes, sir. I'd really like that. Thank you.
All right. And he turns and motions you out of the classroom. Now, as the door to the guidance counselor's office closes, Billy, I'm going to ask you, when you walk into the guidance counselor's office, is it Dr. Addis Malachi or Dr. Shava Malachi who is waiting there to meet with you?
It's Shava.
When you come into the office and excuse me, you have a seat, and you too note the meticulous, almost anesthetic way in which this room is appointed. You notice one thing that is out of place, and Dr. Shava Malachi does not seem to have noticed or doesn't care. What is it that seems out of place in this otherwise almost sterile environment?
You'd think with how sterile a place is that, you wouldn't have any nature because plants drop leaves, they have to be fed, there's dirt involved. But there is an odd plant, something that just not only looks out of place in this office, but looks out of place in its entirety. It is, looks like it's from another part of the world or another world in general.
She notices you noticing the plant. And she kind of glances over it and she smiles and she says, "Do you know what that is?"
I do not.
It is an incredibly rare flowering plant that I must admit, in a small and somewhat uncharacteristic display of vanity, I just had to have It is called a Malachi angel. Or, sorry, a Malachi lotus. It is called this because when the plant flowers to its full flowering, which happens only once in a year, the brilliantly colored flower resembles an angel ascending. It is absolutely stunning, and I cannot wait for when this one blossoms. William Stapler.
He tries his best to suppress a cringe as she says his surname.
Your family, I understand it, is one of the original founding families here in Paradise.
That's what they tell me.
Well, I hope it will give you some degree of assurance that I am not here to talk to you or make you talk about your family today. I would like to talk to you about you and your friends.
About my friends? What does that have to do with school?
Insomuch as it has to do with you, and you are a student here in the school in your 5th year, you have been selected so that we may take a closer look at you and see how your interpersonal dynamics are with your friends and how it may affect your growth here at Paradise Academy. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions. I just want you to answer as honestly as possible.
Is this part of the next iteration?
Iteration, as in what?
I'm trying to read her to see if that whether she's hiding it or whether she knows anything.
She gives no indication of any recognition other than understanding the word iteration.
Sure.
This is the first time we're conducting these sessions. I suppose you could call these meetings an iteration if you would like. Do you view this as some sort of science experiment?
I apologize. Go on.
She makes a couple notes. What I was wondering is, you spent the summer with a pretty close group of friends, as I understand it. And
She lets out a genuine smile as she says it.
I would like you to think about, of your group of friends, who is it that you are the closest to? Who do you feel the most positively toward of your group of friends?
I think that's an easy one. Well, I've gotten along with all of them. Lazarus has got to be the closest one.
Lazarus Eccles, I believe, yes?
Indeed.
It's Lazarus that I would like to ask you then. Think about your friend Lazarus and how close you feel to him. What is it about Lazarus that you admire most that you would never tell him?
Lazarus tends to, in many of the things he does, comes at it with 100% assurity and confidence. And I know very few that commit so fully to everything that they do. feel it's a noble quality, but if I were to say that to him, I think it might change his stance, and because it's so natural that he does it, that it would actually psych himself out of it.
Well, before I get started, uh, I want to make sure that we have sound in the stream. Let's see.
Oh, whoops. Sorry. That's... Nope, that was me.
We've got sound in the stream.
No, my mic was muted. I coughed.
Oh.
And right at the tail end of Ted's answer. And I muted for the stream, and then I forgot to unmute. So whoever said that, thank you. So what was not heard was the sound of the door loudly slamming out in the hallway, as if a spring was under too much tension. It causes an echo in the empty hallways. That sound causes Billy and Dr. Shavra Malachi to look up suddenly. When we return, we are with Coop and Dr. Addis Malachi, who has just said, I know it can be difficult, but in the same way, I would like you to think about your group of friends and who you view the most negatively. And tell me who that would be.
Well, I think it would probably be Billy. Because because he's so different now.
In thinking about your negative feelings towards Billy and how you think that he's changed, what would you say is the most dishonest thing you've ever seen Billy do?
Well, there was this one time where he hurt a guy really bad. I don't think he meant to, but he did. Yeah. That's probably the worst thing that I've ever seen him do.
You hurt somebody really badly. Like, you mean physically? He was in some sort of altercation.
Yeah, I don't think he knew how strong he was.
Yes, that can be difficult for some of you as you are going through your the changes that come with puberty. You find yourself to be much stronger than you realize.
It was almost as if he got really strong overnight.
Well, I appreciate your honest and succinct answer for that. And despite the fact that I said we weren't going to, since 3/5 of the group have gone, we're going to go ahead and take a very short break right now because the next person in line for questions is not here. Neither are two other people.
Damn it.
Because I did the rule stuff at the beginning, I'm like, where did all the time go?
And-
Also, why did nobody tell me that my camera is completely borked?
Because you're like this big
No,
for
I
me.
mean, literally, this means that this entire game, I've been out of focus. I just happened to look at the stream.
Well, we thought you were trying to be mysterious. I
You
don't
get
know.
mad at us sometimes when we say your mic isn't working. So.
What? No, I don't. I didn't get mad at you.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if I can fix this.
Coop almost said that Billy killed the guy,
I know, I
but
caught
then
that.
remembered
Billy-
where he was.
I caught
Yeah.
that.
Brick killed a guy.
Yeah, you might want. I think the cops are looking for you.
You might want to find a family member, lay low for a while, because you're probably wanted for murder.
I killed a man with a pitchfork. Okay, without
Was
me
a man on
doing
fire?
anything, my camera just turned off.
Incredible. It heard you. It's pissed.
It turned off, but you're still
Okay,
on.
now it's back on. Well, I guess we're using this informal break for me to attempt to troubleshoot my camera. I'll edit all this out in post.
Hooray.
So I have to see if I can do this while it's still live. Jeremy, we're taking an informal break since half of the group left.
The figures.
I didn't realize everybody needed a break.
There was a mass exodus.
Sorry. My
I've
back teeth were
also
floating.
learned just now, 2 hours into the stream, that I've been blurry this entire time.
You're not that blurry.
noticed it, but I wasn't going to say anything.
Say
should've.
something!
We're too polite.
I should have.
Nobody
I
said
have
anything,
Michigan
so,
sensibilities.
well,
Yeah.
the thing is, I don't know if I can... I don't know if it's gonna let me... I wonder.
Yeah, I was about to say, do
can't reach
the
it.
Coop thing with your hand. Try
That's
to
not
get it to
no,
reset.
it's not not automatic,
Oh.
it's manual. And I always do it beforehand. Nothing's coming up when I click on
Thank you. Purple Swirl agrees with me. It's really not that blurry. It's not. Nothing's ruined here.
Yeah.
No, that's
It
fine.
really wasn't
It's
all
just
that bad in the beginning.
it's just for me. It irritates the
Sure,
crap
sure,
out of
sure,
me
sure.
because I can't access the tool I need while the camera is
While
being
it's on.
used.
Mm.
Oh wait. Yeah, because I turned the camera off in OBS, I might be able to do this. Hold on. Live. The live view shoot. Yeah, I might be able to fix this. Can't do anything about the beginning of the stream, but I don't know.
So
I don't
what-
know why I'm blaming you guys for not saying anything, because that's something I should have checked before I went live.
What Tamiko Jim did I miss about why Billy was negative?
He almost
Because
he hurt a man really bad.
there was a time when he almost
Perfect.
hurt a guy.
He hurt a guy real
Excellent.
bad.
He doesn't know how he doesn't understand how strong he's
Okay.
gotten.
It's puberty.
Love it.
The blurriness
Must
is
be.
fixed.
What else could it possibly be?
Ted, we wound up taking an informal break anyway because
Yeah, I was a few feet away when you announced that.
Okay.
I got a cramp in my foot, and I'm like, well, he hasn't answered the question about break, and somebody else says, if you got to go, go. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get up. So then once you announced break, I went and did all of the breaky type stuff.
Well, yeah, two of you come back, and now
Coop was done.
Carrie's gone.
Coop was done.
And
I am really excited. Indiana Jones drops on Disney Plus tomorrow.
have you not
and
seen
I
it
finally
yet?
get to see it. I have not. So
I am curious
I'm
what your
really
thoughts are. I
excited.
will say nothing other than I really enjoyed it.
please, yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that from enough people to have my interest peaked.
But I would like to
Did you
hear-
need me, or is Coop done?
No, Coop answered the question, and Laz is
Cool.
next, but I wanted to wait for Chad and Carrie to get back. We got. We may end up
our
running
entire-
about 15 minutes long, just as a heads up.
Yeah, that should be fun with me. But yeah, I've been tearing the entire living room apart because I'm building an entertainment center. So, like, the TV is unplugged and moved into a different room, and so my goal is to have that done by dinner time tomorrow so that we can sit down and watch it. So
I am going with my family to DeVos Performance Hall to watch Elf with the Grand Rapids Symphony Orchestra providing the score live.
oh, that's cool.
We
That'll be
did
fun.
that with Goonies this summer, and
Oh,
we looked
man,
up
how
to see
cool.
what other shows they had, and they had for December 1st this Elf show, and we decided to do it as sort of a family Christmas present. So
Heck yeah, dude.
That'll be really cool.
my mother-in-law, my wife, and myself, and my daughter, and my son and his girlfriend are all going to see that tomorrow night. Also, speaking of
Getting
movie
to-
stuff,
Yeah, go ahead.
I've only taken a couple pictures of this. I haven't posted it on social media yet because it goes live tomorrow. This is the only thing I've ever bought off of TikTok Shop because I saw it so many times.
Is that a
The
This is
Nakatomi Tower.
Nakatomi Plaza, Hans Gruber
Oh,
Falling
Hans Gruber.
Advent
As
Calendar.
an advent.
As
That's amazing.
he magnetically fits on there, and each day you slide him a little further down because it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls from
Yep,
Nakatomi
that's
Tower.
the truth. That is brilliant.
It's just this
to
little
this day.
laser cut wood thing that somebody did a little bit of painting on. I'll post it on Twitter and
Hell
Discord
yeah.
and stuff tomorrow. But
That's
Now-
hilarious.
Did you know that the look on his face when he starts falling is actually genuine?
I
Because
did.
they said, okay, we'll let go on 3 and then let go on 1.
Yep.
That's awesome.
All right,
That's a great fun fact.
Tamiko, are you still there?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody's back. We're going to continue. Coop has just answered a question. For the purposes of editing, this will be a little bit of a hard cut, but I'm going to pause for 1 second as we do the transition into Laz. Laz, you are now once again, we're with you in the office with Dr. Addis Malachi. As he says to you, I wanted to take that first question. If it were a coin, we're going to flip it over to the other side. And if Rosie is somebody who you feel the most positively toward, I want you to think on the other side of that coin, who amongst your group of friends is it that you feel the most negatively towards?
He like shoves his hands like deep into his pockets to where like he's able to like almost like lock his elbows. I don't know, like they're all, you know, pretty good people. I like all of them. I guess if I had a beef with somebody, I guess it would have to be Billy.
Billy Stapler.
Yeah.
Well, as you think about these feelings you have towards Billy, it's my understanding that over the summer or at some point recently, you did something to hurt Billy. Why is it so difficult for you to apologize?
know that I really did anything. Well, I like ever since he turned into like a roided out wolfman or whatever, Jessica and Anne, they've been drooling all over him, and he's so perfect at everything. It's just, I don't know. It felt like at the start of summer that, like, we were becoming friends, and now he's just another musclehead. So I guess I kind of blew him off a little, but I'm not gonna apologize for that. Like, he doesn't need me to be his friend.
You're mad at Billy for changing.
I didn't say mad. It just, I don't know. It's just not the same as it was.
Miss Gunnarsson, you've done a good job of explaining to me why it is that Lazarus is somebody that you feel so close to. Could you, for a moment, imagine who it is amongst your group of friends that you feel the most negatively about? And while you're thinking about that, could you please make a note that when you leave my office, take your crumbs with you?
Rosie, pretty immediately, like, brushes the crumbs into her hand and then just kind of goes like,
We were gonna do that.
sorry. And while she's asking that question, when she says, well, like, who do you feel negatively about? Rosie kind of drifts away. And she's sort of like looking into the middle distance. And for just a second, we as the audience, if this is a Netflix special or something, you see like just like 1 second of footage of the beach and blood and werewolf teeth snapping and Rosie kicking and just horror and Jessica screaming down the beach and Rosie screaming too. And then it kind of flashes back to the office and she just looks back at the counselor and she goes, Billy Stapler.
I see. And tell me, Miss Gunnarsson, to what extent would you ensure that you are not alone with Mr. Stapler? How far would you go to avoid being left alone with Billy?
Well, man, pretty far. I mean, he pretty far. I would go through somebody. I would claw through a wall. I don't want to be alone with him. That'd be a bad idea. And Rosie is you can tell, like, she's scared. It's, yeah.
You see, for just a moment, you see her sort of professional distance. Her demeanor softens. She sets her pencil down. She actually smiles at you for a moment. I understand how difficult that was, and I want you to know, Miss Gunnarsson, Rosie, that if you find yourself in danger, real, genuine danger, even perceived from Mr. Stapler or anyone for that matter, I want you to feel safe and comfortable that you can come to me.
And Rosie would kind of shake her head and she would be like, Dr. Mack, all due respect, I don't think talking about my feelings is going to protect me against Billy Stapler.
My door is always open to you. Oak. I'm trying to remember the order because, for whatever reason, though I've had a pencil in my hand this entire time, I have written nothing down.
It's a prop. It's not really a pencil.
It is really a pencil.
I know.
I just apparently don't know how to use it. Because I'm holding it in my left hand and I'm right-handed. Ooh, sorry.
There you
Coop. Oak. I hope you're feeling more comfortable and continuing with the questions, because I would like to... I'm not going to make this easy on you, but I would like you to think about the opposite end of the spectrum of your group of friends. You've mentioned Rosie, with Lazarus as a close second, as the people you feel the closest to. But who amongst your group of friends do you feel most negative towards?
He pauses for a second. Okay. Well, I mean, this might surprise you then, because yeah, I'm gonna have to say last. I mean, look, I don't know. It's not that I think negatively of him. I love him, man. I do. I care about him. I think he's an awesome guy. But, like, I don't know. I got a lot of feelings right now. So, it's difficult. I'm scared. I'm scared, not of him, but, like, he's gonna be in 10th grade this year, dude. Like, I'm in 7th. At some point, he's gonna leave me.
Is that
and I'm not gonna have him.
Is that what he's doing? Either knowingly or unknowingly that's hurting you? In this case, it sounds like because he's older than you?
Look, I don't have a lot of friends, okay? I don't. And last summer, I made 5 of the most amazing friends that I could have ever asked for. Okay? And yeah, I'm a little upset at him for a number of reasons. One of which is I told him that I just didn't want to be alone. And he can be so stubborn sometimes. Like on our first time here, our first summer outing, we went out to the lighthouse. On our own. Like all of us, we went out to the lighthouse. And what does that goober do? No, he leaves us the first minute. He's the first one out the door. And I specifically told him I didn't want to be left alone. And now we're about to start school, and I don't know. He looks up at the school chart where all the grades are. Look, I'm here. He's here. That means I got 2 more years with this guy. 2 more years with my brother to be able to make something happen. And then I'm going to be left alone, a 10th grader, and he's going to be, I don't know,
probably looking at colleges with Rosie, and they're gonna leave me, and I'm just gonna be Oak. I'm just gonna be me. And then it'll just be me and Coop. And I mean, I love Coop too, but Laz is like a brother to me.
Have you ever told him this?
No. Not directly. But I don't know. It's hard to talk to him. Have you ever tried to talk to him? It is hard to talk to Laz. He doesn't really show his emotions, so you could say whatever you want to him and he'll just... I think we hugged once last summer. Once.
Well, I would recommend talking to him about how you feel, because, for one thing, not everybody's a hugger.
I know that. I will. I'm just scared. That's all.
Well, I can understand when you have friends that are older than you and your fears that as they grow older and leave school before you, that they will move on and leave you behind.
It's more than that, but yeah.
I don't think you have anything to worry about.
He like rolls his eyes a little bit, like, okay, yeah, you tell me that.
You don't know shit.
He sets his pencil down for a moment.
I'm a Tom Lord, y'all.
He sets his pencil down. He looks right at you and says, I have a feeling you will leave before any of your friends have a chance to leave you.
And Brett?
Billy. Sorry. I'm trying to keep track of who we're moving on
I
to.
look exactly like Ted. I understand.
I forgot that I already did your question. Mr. Stapler. In looking at your friendships, I want you to think amongst your group of friends and tell me who it is that you are the least close to, or that you even harbor ill feelings or negativity towards.
Guessing self is not an acceptable answer here.
There are no wrong answers here, Mr. Stapler.
There's definitely problems within, if you want to go that direction. But if I'm forced to choose from those that I call friends, there's always going to be problems. There's always going to be something that you don't like. But categorically, I call them all friends and would do whatever it would take for any of them. But the one lately I feel the least connected to would be Oak.
Oak. Oh. Oak is what you and your friends call Orson Kubrick? The nickname?
Yes. I mean, it's his initials. It's how he kind of introduced himself when we met at the start of the summer. And
no, I get it. Clever. What is it that Oak... What does he have that you want to take from him?
last name?
Oh,
His last name.
I don't like being a stapler.
Well. And so you wish you were a Kubrick instead? Or perhaps a Gunnarsson? Or Cooper? Or even an Eccles? Smith?
Anything, really. It's this town, this lineage, the looks that are just sent my direction just for having that name. I'm judged before I'm known. I hate it. If one wants to get a chance to know me and you don't like who I am, that's fine. There's plenty of space in this world for us to each go our own way. But I despise being judged on something that's not my choice.
I can understand that to a certain extent. The unfairness of being judged for something that is outside of your control. You did not choose your parents, after all. You did not choose the stapler name. And I know you've probably heard it ad nauseum. The weight that the stapler name carries in this town. I don't know if you're aware that you did this. But you turned your answer, in which you claimed to have negative or not feeling so close to your friend Orson. But you answered the question by making it about yourself, as you suggested in your initial answer.
Well, if you are gonna pry, if you're gonna push,
That's my job.
I've tried hard to push myself in directions to be knowledgeable, and amongst the group of friends, it has been, again, this is a nitpicky thing, but it's irritating how often Oak would have the right answer before I could get it out. It seemed, and he's a young kid, and I'm certain that it was not, some kind of needling to get it to me. When you're used to being smart, not around a whole lot of other kids that apply themselves, you're used to being the one to have the answer. Sometimes he was, and more times than I would care to admit, he was quicker on it than I was. And I found that irksome. It's petty, it's stupid, but there it is.
You seem to have an awareness. That's progress. I didn't want to do that while you were talking. That would have been more appropriate to have happened during a question and answer period with Rosie, because she was already eating. As we shift from Billy for the final round of questions, we go back to Coop and Dr. Addis Malachi. Now, Kenny, we are almost done. here, I have one more question for you. I know you spent the summer with this group of friends, and I've asked you to look positively and negatively towards these friends. Within your group of friends, there is one person who you know the least. Maybe you've just not spent as much time with them. You haven't gotten to know them. Who is that?
That one's easy. That's Jessica. It's almost like she's never around.
Emma's working very hard tonight. Very hard.
Well, let me ask you. Given the opportunity, Benny, what would you hope to learn about Jessica that you could perhaps use to manipulate her?
Whoa. That's
Oh.
that's not even something I'd ever considered because like I'm a little man in a big pond and she's Jessica. She's Jessica. She's in what? She's like almost a senior, I think. There's no way I'd ever be able to. Well, I guess it's possible if I ever needed to, I could make her feel guilty, but that's not really something I'd ever do. She knows what she did.
You'd be surprised what you could be capable of when put in a position where you need to use that. Especially when faced against somebody who you don't completely trust.
I'd really want to get Jessica on my side because I've got this crazy feeling that I'm gonna need all the help I can get.
Well, I appreciate your candor and know that all of your answers today have been in complete and total confidence.
Well, that's good. We probably should have established that at the beginning, but that's still good.
I'm pretty sure we did.
A little
I forgot.
Well,
Awesome.
I hope you enjoy your first year at Paradise Academy. As he gets up, walks around, and opens up the door, indicating for you to leave. And
Okay.
says, just before he says quietly, since the door is open, he says, "It's good to get to know all of your friends. As you said, she knows what she did. Enjoy your first year and welcome to Paradise Academy, Kenny Cooper." As we cut over to Lazarus.
Bye.
Now, Lazarus, our time is almost done here, and I would
Shame.
thank you for your candor. I have just one more question for you about you and your friend group. You've expressed your feelings both positively and negatively towards Rosie and towards Billy. But in your group of friends, there's somebody you don't know that well. Or at least not as well as you know the others, or perhaps as much as you would like. Who is that person amongst your group of friends?
I mean, I guess it's got to be Jessica. Doesn't really feel like anybody really knows her all that well, you know.
What is it about Jessica? What charming habit is Jessica known for throughout this school?
Question. You know, I hear a lot about Jessica, and I have no idea how much of it is true or not. But there is one thing about her that I do know is true, and she's like one of the most popular girls in school. She, you know, she has a lot of popular friends and stuff, but she still actually takes the time to like talk to us and treat the rest of us, you know, like we're actual human beings. So she actually sees us, you know, and instead of just being like different flavors of outcasts or whatever. So that's pretty cool.
Well, thank you, Mr. Eccles.
Yeah, whatever.
He walks around to the side to the door, puts his hand on the knob, and he says, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you back to Paradise Academy, and I really do hope you have a great year. And I know I exhibited a bit of overexcitement about your mother's band, but I want to assure you and let you know that though you may sometimes feel you live in the shadow of your mother's fame, who your mother is does not define you. Think about what we've talked about here today. He opens up the door and he says, and maybe take the time to get to know Jessica a little bit better. Sometimes those we know the least, we have the most to learn about. You never know what Anne has to tell you. Enjoy your time here at the school, Mr. Eccles.
I'm sorry? What?
He's like, while he moved past his desk to the door when he was opening it, Laz had gotten up and has palmed the Sharpie from his desk and has it kind of like held against the forearm, just kind of held down by his side where he's pulled his sleeve down over it. And he's kind of got like a little bit of a smirk in the corner of his mouth until he utters the name Anne. And then the smile completely melts off of his face. Yeah. You too.
He closes the door behind you, and we do see him as he sits down at his desk and he glances down at the long list of notes, and we do see that in the last section of notes, wherever you were talking about Jessica, he has written Jessica/Anne. And he reaches into his desk drawer. He kind of looks to where you walked away, and he takes something out of his desk. And then he places a new Sharpie on the desk in the place where you took the other Sharpie.
Dude, oh my god.
Back in the meticulous office with Dr. Shavra Malachi, it's Rosie still in there. Miss Gunnison, I hope you won't be too disappointed when I tell you that our time today is almost at an end. I have just one more question for you.
Shoot.
Again, about you and your friends. Who among your group of friends would you say you know the least? Who have you not taken the time to get to know or had the opportunity to get to know as well as the others?
I mean, I try to take time. I mean, Oak, I guess. I mean, I feel like even if you took time with Oak, you wouldn't know all about him. I mean, especially lately with, you know, his the accident and all. He's kind of been a little more distant lately.
It's particularly interesting in this case, then, given the unfortunate circumstances of Mr. Kubrick's situation. But from your perspective, Gunnarsson, what is Orson doing to threaten his family's reputation?
What? What do you mean?
When they leave us, however they may do so, those who are close to us leave behind a legacy.
Yeah.
Mr. Kubrick's family had a reputation in Paradise. What is it about your friend that he is doing that is endangering that reputation?
I don't think he's doing a damn thing to endanger the family reputation. What the fuck is he, a DuPont? I mean, he's 12.
Miss Gunnarsson,
I
have allowed the snacking, the drinking of soda during our meeting, but I will draw the line at the language you are using.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Remember your place as a student representing Paradise Academy. Miss Gunnarsson. Now,
I'm
if you would
sorry.
care to take another stab at answering that question.
I am trying to be respectful. I swear to God, he's not doing anything wrong. He's 12 years old. He's gone through something horrible that nobody should ever have to go through. He's not doing anything to hurt his family's reputation. He's surviving. What else do you want from him? If he was doing all the stuff that Laz is out there doing, I'd give him a pass. He's surviving, and that's enough. Shouldn't it be?
Thank you for your answer. Thank you for your candor. Miss Gunnarsson, I do sincerely hope that your 4th year with us here at Paradise Academy is truly an enjoyable one, and I wish you and your teammates the best in your coming season. Go Bucks.
Thank you.
As
Go
she comes
Bucks.
around and opens up the door, she says, but Miss Gunnarsson,
Yeah.
as the school year begins and you find yourself in new situations with your friends, I would just remind you, as you consider your distance from your friend, Mr. Kubrick, that when it comes to getting to know him, time is the one thing you may not have. Welcome back to Paradise Academy, Miss Gunnarsson. I will be in the stands cheering you on.
As she's holding the door, Rosie turns to leave and she's like, oh, and then she goes back, kind of ducks under this woman and goes and she's like, I forgot my can. And she would go then and duck out the door.
as you duck out the door, we are back in the room once again with Dr. Addis Malachi and the aforementioned Oak. Mr. Kubrick, we are almost done here today. I know that it's been difficult for you, and I hope you felt at least some degree of catharsis in getting some of your emotions out today. And I don't mean to imply that it is by any means an end-all. If anything, it is just the beginning. And I want to re-emphasize that my door is always open. I'm going to make this last question a little bit easier, I think, before we go. Amongst your friends, who is it that you know the least about? Who have you spent the least amount of time with or gotten to know less than your other friends?
Okay, I got to spend a lot of time with all of them. But I mean, somebody I'd like to get to spend more time with that I didn't spend a lot of time with this summer? Coop. Yeah, Coop.
Coop.
Yeah.
That would be Kenny Cooper, yes?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm sorry. Do I need to?
No.
Okay.
I understand that sometimes his friends refer to him as Coop. Well, it is my understanding that your friend Kenny Cooper did something incredibly wonderful that got the whole school talking. Would you care to elaborate on that a bit?
Oh, yeah. And you see for the first time in this whole conversation, he goes from the absolute depressed, state to, actually having a genuine smile about it. So you know how this year, they did, so they did mascot tryouts in August, okay?
Oh.
Mascot tryouts in August, and Coop's a sixth grader, so he's not old enough to be Bucky, okay? Bucky has to be a senior. I get that. But they do have a training program, and there is a secondary one, okay? It's the Fawn, okay? And I kid you not, dude, he came out in this little fawn costume, and I was so happy for him. He was so cool. We got out on the field, and there he is. He's out there. And then some kids started picking on him in the stands, and I was like, I wasn't going to have that. That's my best friend, dude. I'm not going to let anybody do nothing to him. You know what this dude did? This dude didn't skip a beat. Dude took the hand off of the thing, showed him the claw, and was just doing the robot and all this nonsense, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. He didn't skip a beat. And I mean, that's why I call him RoboCoop now. He's RoboCoop. He's the coolest kid in the freaking school, man. He's the best.
Oh my god,
I love him, you know? And everybody, and I thought people was gonna get all upset or mad, but no, they loved him. He was so cool, and he got along with. I didn't get to meet the kid who was in the Bucky suit, but he got along with Bucky, and he had the best performance, dude.
Well,
it was the best.
I can tell you right now, Mr. Kubrick, that I wish that perhaps I had waited just a few more minutes before showing you that mirror. Because if you could see the way your face just lit up talking about Coop just now. I do have a bit of news for you regarding Coop as a mascot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to budget cuts, the school has had to do away with the fawn.
Bonnie Willis? Damn it. No.
However,
Oh,
Kenny Cooper did such an incredible job, and with the Bucky mascot student graduating this year, the administration has unanimously decided that Kenny Cooper will be filling Bucky, the mascot. Not just this year, but should he desire so, for the next 7 years at Paradise Academy.
oh, it's awesome, man. Like, you
My-
can see genuine, like, these are now tears of joy that are coming from Oak. Like, not tears of sadness, these are tears of joy. And he just, like, wipes his eyes. He's like, dude, can I just say something real quick? All of my friends and I have had the best and the worst summer of our lives, all in the same go. When Kenny lost his hand, like, I think that was one of the things that, like, really, like, made our friendship real strong. Because, I mean, kids picked on me too. So I feel like we had to, be bonded brothers and stuff. I'm gonna stick by him, same way I know he'd stick by me. So that makes me feel really happy. Thank you so much.
Well, hold on to that as he comes around to open up the door. I do sincerely welcome you back for another year at Paradise Academy, and I hope you make the most of it. Hold on to that feeling. Take joy in your friends' successes. Get to know them as best you can. Orson, you and I both know you will not be here to see how the year turns out. Again, welcome to Paradise Academy. And he practically pushes you out the door.
Excuse me, what do you mean by...
Oof. Yeah.
I'm so
Oh my-
in sync, Carrie. As you stand there for a few moments and then realize that he's not coming out or responding, you eventually wander back down the hall, around the corner, towards the front entrance. And as you come around the corner from where the door to the girls' bathroom is, you come around the corner and you begin heading back towards the front entrance. Between that wall where the girls' bathrooms are, there's a long wall. It's got some bulletin boards and stuff on it. And then there's one of the stairwells that leads up and down. And as you were walking by, a little bit distracted, somebody comes down or comes up from the... Hold on a second. Somebody comes up from the lower level and comes around that corner and almost barrels into you. And very quickly you see it's an adult, one of the teachers. And he very quickly, he kind of puts his hand out to steady so he doesn't knock you over and says, "Well, sorry there, son. I guess I better watch where I'm going, hadn't I?" And he turns and walks away, and you hear the unmistakable voice and see the unmistakable figure of Dr. K wearing a white lab coat walking down the hall in the direction of the guidance counselor's office. And we are going to finish up with Billy, who is meeting with Dr. Shava Malachi. Now, Mr. Stapler, we are very nearly done here. I just want to ask you one more quick question about your friends. Thinking about your relationships, positive and negative, with your friends, I'm sure you can think of at least one of them whom you have not had the opportunity to get to know very well. Somebody you know less than your other friends. Who would you say that is amongst your group?
So you can see that Billy is thinking hard, and there hasn't been a whole lot of time, and so you'll say there hasn't really been a whole lot of time to really get to know any of them, really. And since you're trying to get the deep psychology here, I'll give you the the male brain answer real quick. Of course, I'd like to know Jessica. Of everybody, I can tell you details about who my friends are. And, he rattles off a handful of facts about, the different, skateboarding moves and, band interests of Lazarus, the amount of years that Rosie has been playing baseball, and her favorite players that she has shared. He goes into all of the different hobbies, not that he really truly understands of the interests of Oak, but besides occasionally picking up rocks, really don't know all that much about Coop.
Coop. That would be Kenny Cooper.
Yeah, it doesn't really like to be called Kenny, though.
New 6th grader this year. I
Indeed.
understand he's also the new Bucky mascot.
That's one of the things coming down the pike as far as rumors.
But while everybody is celebrating Coop's being awarded full mascot status as a new 6th grader, there's something else that Coop is involved with, isn't there? A scandal in the school.
I hate the term scandal, and I've only heard bits and pieces. He kind of rolls his eyes as he says, connected that he is. I don't know whether he started it, whether he's stumbled into it, but there's some kind of homework scandal ring of people asking, paying for, or forcing others to do their homework. And the rumor mill is that Coop's somehow mixed up in there.
Again, I do appreciate your candor, and as I've said, everything that is told to me here in this office is done so in confidence. I do truly appreciate you being honest with me today, Mr. Stapler. I would like you to think about the things we've talked about today. I want you to think about your friends that you are close to, that you are not as close to, the ones you want to get to know better. I would like you to hold your friends as close as you can. Watch over them. You may not be the oldest amongst your group of friends, but I believe you are perhaps the most mature amongst your group of friends. That is why I am going to tell you. You are in for a new challenge at Paradise Academy, Mr. Stapler. School is not easy. Paradise
Can you
Academy.
just call me Billy?
If you prefer, yes.
Billy,
I will call you Billy. Billy.
Thank you.
School is a challenge. Paradise Academy is a unique challenge. What I am going to tell you, I would like you to hold in the same confidence with which I hold the things you have told me today. While I have no influence, nor do I have any control, myself and Dr. Addis Malachi have positioned ourselves in such a way that we can keep an eye on you and your friends. As we welcome you to yet another year at Paradise Academy, I understand that while this is your 5th year, Billy, it is also your first year at Paradise Academy. Addis and I will do our best to keep an eye on you and your friends during this most terrible and trying iteration. Now, keep in mind what we've told you, and once again, welcome to Paradise Academy, Billy. And she opens up the door and ushers you out.
It's an odd look as he's got the eyebrow furrowed with her using his own verbiage and acknowledging the iteration, but he can't help but smirk when she actually acquiesced and called him Billy. But you know, the thoughts are worrying as he leaves the office, and can't wait to go have a conversation with his friends.
And as you leave the office, and we cut to an exterior shot of the front of Paradise Academy with its brass plaque that says "Welcome to Paradise Academy," and the school motto in Latin beneath it, "Futurum nondum scriptum." The future is not yet written. We see the entirety of Paradise Academy filling the foreground as we see Paradise off in the distance, just off to the left of the frame. We can catch the Lakeshore and the Candle Point Lighthouse. Way off in the distance, about a mile and a half, just barely visible through the trees, we can see the Queen Anne style mansion that is the Stapler House. Off in this direction, we can see the white semi-trucks with the cherry logos on the side driving to and fro at Paradise Orchard's processing facility. And as the camera is slowly panning up, giving us this view of the town, we can just barely see on one of the lower level windows, as the window is slightly cracked, and we see a small white lab rat come out onto the windowsill, sit up on its haunches, and we fade to black.
Oh!
And that is the end of our special presentation, Welcome Week. Sorry we ran a little long. I did the sort of the rule stuff at the beginning without thinking about how long it takes to get through.
Wow.
In this case, 15 questions.
Oh my god.
And you didn't think you were going to get through your counseling session without some little Easter eggs and mysteries presenting themselves.
Oh.
Oh, of course. I mean, that kind of goes without saying, especially when you have the laden questions that you have that are like set up to, infiltrate the season with all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Amazing. Oh
So-
my god.
Yeah, for those of you that are watching with us live, or you might be watching with us on the VOD, this will be the last episode until the new season officially begins. The second season, which is officially called Welcome to Paradise Academy. A couple quick notes before we head out of here. One, it took me until earlier today to figure out who the guidance counselors were. I've had about a half a dozen candidates for guidance counselor, and I decided in classic second season shenanigans, we've got to introduce some new characters, and some new mysteries and things like that. Also, in another weird burst of epiphany and inspiration, I already know the theme and name of season 3.
Oh,
I'm not even going to hint at it, but
welcome to Paradise University.
we don't
Sorry.
know. We don't know, because when we started Paradise Michigan, we did not go into it with the intention to do seasons. I just thought it would be an open-ended thing, and then a couple months ago I had the idea for a second season with this change in iteration. You all trusted me and were pleasantly surprised with the revelation of Paradise Academy. Much like other shows that we've run that have run in seasons, who knows how many episodes this is going to be. This was a 30 episode season. We could go another 30, 40, 50, 25. Who knows? We're going to go until the stories start to feel like they've resolved themselves and it's time to move on to another iteration, if that's the case. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that I had what I think is a really good idea. It'll still be kids on bikes, but
Congratulations.
it
The
could be a
secret.
year from now, but I already know what season 3 is, so we got that to look forward. That's my way of saying, hey guys, season 1 was a success. We got picked up for not only season 2, but we picked up for season 3.
Hey, we're moving networks, but who gives a shit? We're still on the same time slot. It works.
Bang bang, baby.
So
Making it
I'm
happen.
gonna say some goodbyes here real quick, and then if you guys can stick for like 2 or 3 minutes, I will show you the school afterwards.
Can I do a
Oh yes,
Can I do a quick
please,
plug
please
for
do.
Zoo Mafia? All right, so since this is the last episode of the year, if you haven't had a chance to come check out the Kickstarter for Zoo Mafia, if you happen to like other RPGs like this one that's not D&D, you might want to check out the awesome game that Nerdarchy is created, Zoo Mafia. It's currently on Kickstarter and goes until, I think mid-December. But go check it out. Throw it some love. Some of these players here have already had a chance to check it out. Jeremy did a wonderful job on his channel, as well as there's 2.5 seasons of it on our channel, and there's a couple other people who have talked about it as well. So go check it out. Give it some love if you can. Share it out if you can't. But please, thank you, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely check it out. It was a blast. Head over to Erasmus Expeditions. Over on, actually, Jeremy, I think it's still active. If you want to type !Erasmus, it might be a link to, that goes to your drive-through store. That's fine, check that out. But go to Erasmus Expeditions. You can put a link in the chat if you want. Check out the YouTube channel just for all the awesome games, but the Zoo Mafia game that we played is up there. It was an awesome game. Check it out. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, hung out with us tonight. As always, we appreciate you. Thank you to those who supported with subscriptions or gift subs. Of course, we always appreciate that. And in the new season, the domain pops are all the more important for these players, so keep that in mind. Enjoy the break. You might see me popping up from here to there on a couple channels. And on Monday nights, we will be here with the special one-on-one game sessions for Scribes and Scrolls. Otherwise, MTD is about to sign off for the month of December for the most part. If you're somebody that likes to lurk in the chat, know that we appreciate you all the same. Or if you're watching with us on VODs, we appreciate your support and hope you enjoy watching our presentations. And of course, as always, I have to say a huge end of the year, wholehearted, I love you, thank you. You are some of the best people I know, my true close friends that I absolutely enjoy getting to tell these kind of stories. Just that we get to have fun, but also that we trust one another to take the deep emotional cuts that we're delving into It means a lot, and I always look forward to these games. And this game being a Thursday night game, the fact that it has become an MTD flagship just makes me proud. And for reasons that they know, it means a lot to have all of you here and be able to fill this time slot with something that has come to be such an important show and a part of our lives. So as always, just the biggest thank you, Chad, Tamiko, Carrie, Ted, Jeremy, and though they're not with us tonight, they're with us in spirit, M, without whom this would have been me talking to myself, giving myself counseling for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream for tonight and for the year in the same way we do every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
It's a little childish and stupid.